It's funny. It seems like everywhere you turn these days, everything's going digital, right?
It really does feel that way.
Yeah, and it's wild. Like even just thinking about how we pay bills now or how we access important files at work, it all comes back to needing some kind of digital ID.
Absolutely. It's like our digital footprint is more important than ever.
Exactly. So today we're going to be diving into, how one company in particular is tackling these evolving security challenges, this company called SECANDA. Have you heard of them?
Yes, definitely. And I think what's really fascinating about them is, they use this phrase, basically means security redefined. And it's kind of a bold statement, right?
It is.
So it really makes you want to take a closer look at what they're doing.
For sure. And from the information you've pulled, they seem to be doing a lot. Like they've got solutions for everything, access control systems, payment platforms, even smart cards. Are they trying to be like the one-stop shop for all things ID security?
Yeah, it really seems that way. And I think what's captivating about their approach is this focus on the bigger picture, right? So they're not just looking at individual pieces of the puzzle, like, oh, we need better password protection here or stronger encryption there. It's more about how everything fits together.
So like a more holistic approach.
Exactly. They've built this entire ecosystem, a platform they call SECANDA SECURE, which is designed to integrate and manage ID security across the board.
That's right. And from what I've seen, they really emphasize flexibility and scalability. How does that actually work in practice?
Well, it all starts with recognizing that not all security needs are created equal, right?
Right.
I mean, you'd hope you'd have different security for like your work laptop versus just unlocking your smartphone, for instance.
Yeah.
And SECANDA gets that. They address this by offering this whole spectrum of solutions within their platform. So whether you need a simple PIN code for something low risk, or you need like high security biometric authentication for super sensitive data, they've got you covered. And it's all within the same integrated system.
Oh, that's really interesting. See, and that's something that I've even run into myself, just having to juggle all these different security protocols for different platforms. And it's a pain. So it sounds like they're going for like simplicity and user friendliness without compromising security.
Precisely. I think they've really honed in on a key pain point of modern digital life. It's that balance between convenience and robust security, and they're tackling it head on.
Yeah, and it seems like they're really leaning into this idea of a single digital identity for all your needs. I mean, they even go as far as using the phrase future of ID security. It's a bold claim.
It is.
So tell me more about that. What do they actually mean by that?
Well, imagine a world where you could use like the same digital credentials to access your office building, pay for groceries, even just verify your identity online. No more juggling, 20 different usernames and passwords, or like a wallet stuffed with ID cards. That's the vision that SECANDA is working towards.
That's incredible. And it would definitely streamline things.
Yeah.
But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's break down some of the key terms they use, because they throw around secure identification, secure credentials a lot. What exactly do they mean by those terms?
Yeah, you're right. Those are really fundamental to their whole approach. So let's start with secure identification. Really, what it comes down to is ensuring that you are who you claim to be.
Okay.
Think of it as like, how do you prove your identity in this digital world? And there are a bunch of different ways to do that, from, simple passwords to more sophisticated biometrics like fingerprint scanning or even facial recognition.
So if secure identification is proving that you are who you say you are, then secure credentials are the tools you use to do the proving. Is that right?
Exactly. Think of them as your digital keys. And these keys can be, they can be physical, like a smart card. They can be digital certificates stored on your phone. Yeah. It could even be your biometric data. It really just depends on the level of security needed for a particular interaction.
Oh, okay, so it's not just a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. The type of credential you'd use depends on the situation. And speaking of credentials, I noticed in these materials, there's mention of something called crypto controllers.
Yes.
That sounds kind of intimidating.
It does, right? But it sounds more complex than it actually is. Just imagine like a tiny, highly secure computer embedded within a physical credential, like a smart card.
Okay.
That's essentially what a crypto controller is. And its job is to handle all those really complex cryptographic operations that are necessary to keep your credentials safe.
So like a mini fortress protecting your digital keys.
Exactly, a very apt analogy. And that level of sophisticated security is a key part of what makes SECANDA systems so robust. But there's another aspect that I think really sets them apart, and that's something they call SECANDA SECURE Core.
Secure core.
Yeah, it acts as the central brain of their whole system.
Okay, secure core, it sounds important. What makes it so special?
Yeah.
So we've got these crypto controllers, these tiny little digital bodyguards, and now we've got the secure core, the mastermind behind it all. How does it all connect within SECANDA's ecosystem?
Well, that's where things get really impressive, Secure Core, it's think of it as the central nervous system. It connects and manages all the different parts of their system. It's responsible for storing and securing user data, managing those all-important credentials we talked about, and controlling access permissions, basically across the board.
Okay, so it's doing a lot, but I'm guessing it's more than just a really secure data center, right? What makes Secure Core stand out from other similar systems?
It's the flexibility, right, and the customization that Secure Core offers, which you don't see that often with security systems. And this is where that phrase comes in, the no-code, low-code workflow engine.
Right. We touched on that earlier. Can you unpack that a little bit more for me? I mean, what does it actually mean in practice to have a no-code, low-code engine? How did that benefit someone who's using SECANDA's system?
Okay, so picture this. You get to visually design and customize your security workflows, right? But here's the kicker. You don't need to write a single line of code to do it.
Oh, wow.
That's the power of this engine. It's like having this digital toolbox where you can just drag, drop, and connect different security elements to build a system that perfectly matches your needs.
So instead of needing a whole dedicated IT team to come in and make changes or updates, someone with even just basic technical knowledge could say, adjust security protocols, user permissions, all through a visual interface.
Exactly. That's it. And that's incredibly valuable, right? Because it makes these sophisticated security features accessible to organizations of all sizes. A small business owner, for example, could use it to, I don't know, maybe manage employee access to sensitive data, or you could have a large corporation customizing security protocols for different departments, different locations. But it's all within this one unified system.
That's amazing. It's a great example of how SECANDA balances this really complex technology with user friendliness.
Yeah.
But I want to bring it back down to the individual for a second. You mentioned earlier how this approach could totally revolutionize how we interact with the world around us. What does that look like, practically? Why should someone who's, maybe not a tech expert care about SECANDA and their vision for ID security?
I think it comes down to trust, ultimately, and efficiency. We live in a world that's increasingly digital, and proving who you are and accessing the services you need shouldn't feel like this constant uphill battle. SECANDA is trying to create a future where those interactions are just seamless, they're secure, and they're built on this foundation of digital trust.
Yeah, it's almost like they're saying, we'll take care of all the complex security stuff behind the scenes. You don't have to worry about it. You can focus on what matters. So no more trying to remember a million passwords, no more giant wallets full of ID cards. That's a future I can get behind.
I think we can all get behind that. And it's really exciting to see the technology that they're using to make it happen. We've talked about, crypto controllers, workflow engines. They're even incorporating some really, really impressive AI into their system. And there's this one feature that I found particularly interesting. It's what they call AI-powered image capture.
Okay, AI-powered image capture. That sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Tell me more. So they're using AI to streamline how we capture and verify images for things like, I don't know, ID cards, access badges. How does that actually work?
Well, it's all about automation and making things more secure at the same time. So imagine a system that not only takes your picture, but then it instantly cross-references it with existing databases to verify your identity. It could flag any discrepancies or security concerns immediately.
Wow. That's a far cry from the days of blurry passport photos and waiting weeks to get a new ID. This AI-powered approach sounds like it could really speed things up and make the whole process more secure.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it really highlights something we've been talking about, this commitment from SECANDA to using really cutting-edge technology, but in a way that actually improves the user experience without compromising on security.
It's like they're saying security doesn't have to be a pain. It doesn't have to be clunky or inconvenient. And we've covered a lot of ground today, from that that concept of a single digital identity to the nitty-gritty of crypto controllers and AI-powered image capture. So as we wrap up, what are your final takeaways on Secanda's overall approach to ID security?
I think Secanda is really tackling a critical challenge of our time, which is how to make digital interactions both incredibly secure but also surprisingly user-friendly. And their integrated platform with that emphasis on flexibility, customization, and like we talked about, those advanced technologies, it offers a really compelling vision for the future of ID security.
A future where security just fades into the background and we can all move a little bit more freely and confidently in an increasingly digital world. It makes you wonder, though, what kind of impact will these advancements have on, our relationship with identity and access in the years to come? Something to think about.